This guide will walk you through configuring the invoicing settings in Flex databases. From accessing system settings to defining categories and fields, you will learn how to use the software to meet your invoicing needs efficiently. Access the system settings for configuration. Navigate to the Project Management and Budgeting section of the system settings. In this part, invoice references and invoice templates can be added or edited. This is where you define options which are going to be visible in the drop-down menus, as well as the final look of your invoices. That includes categories, bank details, counterparties, types of payment. In Template section, you can define the final look of your invoice. To open and edit a template, click on Invoice link in Link to Edit column. Various editing options are available, so you can design the template according to your needs. Once satisfied with the look of the template, it can be saved easily. To define the access rights for the users, administrators should go to Roles and Permissions section of the system settings. Global Permissions section allows you to define access and permissions for different roles, regardless of the project they are a part of. To define the permissions for a particular role, the role should be selected. Find and define the permissions related to the outgoing invoices. Access or update rights can be granted for each permission. Incoming invoices permissions can be found at the end of permissions list. The same logic applies for project-specific permissions. In project-specific permissions, first the project needs to be selected. Now that the system settings setup is done, we can move on to the final step of setup. It is done in the Project Management and Budgeting module itself. Once you access the module, find and open the project of interest. Both outgoing and incoming invoices project-specific settings are defined in Project Settings. By default, the number of calendar days until the payment deadline field is empty. You can enter numbers in the range from 1 to 999, or leave the field empty. The entered number is used for automatic calculation of the date in the payment deadline date column of the invoice list grid. This setting applies to the outgoing invoices. Invoice limit for one-step check can be set up at this section. Incoming invoices higher than this amount require an additional review. The guide covered configuring invoice settings in Flex databases, including working with the general settings, project-specific settings as well as permissions. By following these steps, you can set up the module for future operating with the Invoices section.